Light a fire means to me where people dig deep to stay stronger for everybody else.
It's being about commitment to people.
It is a firm responsibility to help.
When a crisis occurs, can answer one question. And then what did you do?
Thank you for celebrating with us the amazing honorees this year, extraordinary individuals and organizations that make our community better. For the 13th annual Light a Fire Awards. This year is a different production, as you can tell, and it captures the soul of what it is to give back in Fairfield County. Our honorees are adaptable, dedicated, and selfless. They're amazing at making good things happen to change lives. They turned on a dime, and we're lucky to have them. As Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. And those are our honorees. Light a Fire is a celebration from the heart. It's my favorite event of the year. It is full of thanksgiving, caring, and generosity of spirit. Our honorees are those brilliant examples of doing good for the sake of doing good, whether it's a pizza for a first responder, or the homeless, or those made so vulnerable by the COVID epidemic. Presenting our honorees tonight is actor James Naughton, MC, always a friend and always ready with a smile and a joyful repartee. And you are here tonight because you care deeply too, and you want to make the world a better place for others. So thank you for caring and joining us to celebrate Light a Fire 2020. So first, a few thanks to the folks who supported making this year's awards happen. Our platinum sponsors, UBS, the Shantz Mantione Group, Andrew Shantz and Tom Mantione. These guys help make their customers' lives better. And Carl Chevrolet. Leo and Janet Carl, I don't think there is a charity in New Canaan you haven't helped. Whenever anybody knocks on your door, you answer. Big hearts, big spirits. And a thank you to our exclusive gift sponsor, Serena and Lily. So thank you to our partners, Wall Street Theater, P. Guerin Productions for tonight for the videography, and Tiger Lily. And the creative folks who captured the hearts and souls of our honorees. Photographer Melanie Wuss, writer Jill Johnson, and designer Venera Alexandrova. So folks, this is the best year yet. We vet the honorees, but you, the community, bring them to us. With so many worthy choices this year, that begins the awards. So a final thank you to the boots on the ground, nominating shining lights in our community. So our philanthropic partner is Fairfield County's Community Foundation, who was the leader in driving philanthropy across Fairfield County, for all of Fairfield County. They do the research, they crunch the data, they turn on a dime, and their COVID Impact Fund is in lockstep with getting money to the right places in the community. Fairfield County's Community Foundation is the only organization which can bring together diverse groups to figure out the best way forward. And representing the foundation is President and CEO Juanita James, our 2010 Most Involved Couple honoree for Light a Fire. Juanita is the real deal. Vision, determination, positivity, she is an inspiration. Welcome, Juanita.
Thank you, Jonathan, for that incredibly gracious introduction. And I must say how pleased and privileged and honored we are to be here again as your philanthropic partner, and echo Jonathan's thanks and congratulations to all of this year's honorees who went above and beyond in a time of crisis to provide that light for so many. We at the foundation had quite a year, as we all did. Normally, our year is very hectic, but 2020 presented a whole new set of challenges for us all. And I am so thrilled that we were able, through the generosity of our donors, to rise to the occasion and distribute more than $11 million in grants to over 400 nonprofits throughout Fairfield County. We began the year celebrating our Center for Nonprofit Excellence 10th anniversary. Little did we know that in a very short period of time, CNE, as we call it, would have to pivot from live in-person workshops to taking everything digital and online. And we were able to do that in a very short period of time. And in those last few months, over 400 people and participants from various nonprofits have taken advantage of CNE's workshops, training sessions, information sessions throughout Fairfield County. One of the things we were able to do in response to COVID was to launch a COVID Resiliency Fund. And thanks to the generosity of our donors and contributors, we raised $2.5 million within 6 weeks and were able to distribute $2 million of that to our local nonprofits in all 23 towns and cities in Fairfield County and impacted over 260,000 individuals. We thank you for the ability for us to have that kind of an impact in a very short time. The other area that we focused on this year as a community foundation was giving more community voice and civic engagement, encouraging our residents to really exercise their voice. We got very involved in providing support to nonprofit organizations and other groups to encourage everyone to get out the vote. And we did have a record-breaking year. So we're happy to see that everyone got involved, and we want to see everyone stay involved, not just when it's time for a national election, but to be involved every day in your local communities and in your municipalities. And last, but certainly not least, we were able to provide over $1.3 million in scholarships to 489 deserving scholarship recipients, allowing them the opportunity to access a higher education, which we know is the platform for success. So, in partnership with our donors and our communities, we were able to make a contribution and make an impact. And we thank all of you for making that happen.
Now introducing Kristen Marandino, editor of Greenwich Magazine, editorial director for Motley Media, and 18 years with the company. Kristen and her team vetted the many worthy nominations. It was a labor of love. And so was her dedication to Alzheimer's Association, where she co-founded the successful Celebrating Hope Gala and leads teams on walks. So Kristen is an advocate for the needs of communities. In her heart, she believes first in helping people with no voice. Welcome, Kristen.
Good evening. Yes, tonight looks radically different than our celebration of years past. We're not cocktailing in the lobby. We're not hugging friends and coworkers. I'm delivering this speech to a completely empty theater, which is definitely a little odd. But the foundation of these awards, the heart of these awards, is still very much the same. Perhaps even stronger. Because tonight we come together to celebrate the men women, and organizations who stepped up during a global pandemic to protect the most vulnerable of our population. Yet, COVID came crashing down on all of us. Overnight, we all became vulnerable. But when the entire world shut down, our honorees, they didn't retreat. They emerged. They set aside their own anxiety, their own struggles, to make sure the most basic of needs were being met. Food, shelter, financial assistance, childcare. But you know what else is a basic need? The need for hope. The need to know that we are not walking this life alone. And each and every one of them provided that. Many of our honorees work together, creating a web of connectivity, support, and community. It is simply amazing to see how the darkest of times can show us the brightest of humanity. It's important to remember, though, that the effects of COVID are going to be felt for years to come. The need continues, and the work is not done. So please, consider supporting the organizations that you're going to hear about tonight. And together, let's keep the fire burning. So, I would now like to introduce our fantastic MC for the evening, James Naughton. James is a 2-time Tony Award-winning actor, and he's appeared in shows like The Romanoffs, The Blacklist, Odd Mom Out, and The Affair. He has graciously hosted these awards since their inception. And I'm hoping, since even a global pandemic didn't keep him away, he will be with us for years to come. So please welcome James Naughton and enjoy the celebration.
Good evening, everyone. If you are like me and wondered how people are coping throughout this last 7 or 8 months, you're going to meet people tonight who will answer that question. We've got people who are taking care of children, families, the children of people who are our first responders. We're feeding people all across Fairfield County. And these folks, this is always one of my favorite nights of the year because it's an inspiring experience to stand and see who the folks are among us who have gone the extra mile. And so let's begin. Let me introduce to you the first of our 10 Light a Fire Awards winners. Here we go. Well, it's not every day that you come across a man like Dave Kuban. Dave, the owner of Planet Pizza in Norwalk, faced obvious COVID-related struggles, what local business hasn't. But instead of focusing on his personal economic struggles, he spearheaded efforts to feed underserved families, the homeless, postal workers, nurses, and doctors. Dave worked with guidance counselors to get kids what they needed and wanted. Bologna? Not on the menu. So Dave bought it. Rice? Not on the menu. So Dave was buying hundreds of pounds of rice a week. He gave out gift cards for family meals, tipped his drivers out of his own pocket when they made free deliveries, delivered hand sanitizer and paper towels to help keep kids healthy. Dave's generosity seems to know no bounds. And for that, we are honored to present Dave Kuban with the 2020 Light a Fire Outstanding Philanthropic Business Award. And here he is. Please welcome Dave Kuban.
Guys, this is absolutely awesome. And we put together a few words just to let everybody know how we appreciate them and how they supported us during this time. I'm very happy and humbled to receive this recognition from the Lighthouse, Light the Fire. Being a small-based community business, we depend on our local neighbors to help us out, in which they did. We fed the first responders like he said, and we came through and we helped so many kids. The families were calling up, and it was very, very humbling. And I was also so happy to be able to keep my own workers working. I would have hated to let them go. Everyone's been with me for over 10 years. With the help of social media, We started our toy drive a couple years ago, and it's getting bigger and bigger each year. And last year we were able to fill 7 pickup trucks full of toys. And it's very, very humbling. And we work together very closely with our neighbors in our community, and we appreciate everything. So thank you.
Well, I, for one, am planning on visiting Dave's Pizza Shop. It's right across from the DMV. And I don't know about you, but my experience at the DMV is, boy, do I need a piece of pizza after that experience. Well, our homeless population is always at risk. But in the wake of a pandemic, that risk is tenfold. MICHELE, Executive Director of Open Doors Shelter, had her work cut out for her. But she would not be deterred. Understanding that the need for social distancing meant less capacity at the shelter, she advocated to the state and got the organization's clients safely situated within the first few weeks of the outbreak. She remained on site throughout lockdown and was steadfast in her keeping her staff safe. Open Doors provided a literal lifeline for people who had no place else to turn. We are proud to present MICHELE and Open Doors Shelter with the 2020 Light a Fire Homelessness Impact Award. And here she is. Please welcome MICHELE.
Thank you so much. I want to thank the amazing women of the Open Doors Board for this nomination and Moffley Media for this award. A few weeks ago, I was speaking with my brother, and he said to me, the people he likes best are those that, when a crisis occurs, can answer one question, and then what did you do? Because it isn't the crisis that defines us, but the way we respond. When COVID first became a reality, I knew 2 things to be true. First, that while our services, shelter, housing, food, and employment were critical, they were now going to be the difference between life and death for those we served. And second, to be able to provide those services, those of us at Open Doors would have to put our health and safety at risk. The Open Doors team has taken the challenges that COVID presents and met them with the resolve to be the agency the community needs us to be. We are a more aggressive, creative, fast-acting, and determined organization, committed to ending homelessness for every person in need. We have one eye on the present and one on the future, knowing that while these last several months may have felt like the crisis, our true challenges lie ahead as we work to prevent individuals and families from becoming homeless and rapidly reconnecting those who have become homeless back into housing. I am incredibly grateful to receive the Homeless Impact Award. Making an impact on my community is the greatest joy in my life. I can think of no other place I would want to be during this pandemic than at Open Doors, helping those in need. I accept this award not only for myself, but on behalf of my amazing team. Thank you for honoring our commitment to the health, safety, and success of all members of our community. Thank you.
Many people know P.J. Johns as an energetic personal trainer, ready to push you to your physical limits. But even more people know him as a kind-hearted volunteer who gives selflessly and treats everyone he meets with respect and dignity. Prior to the COVID outbreak, PJ was a dedicated volunteer for Filling in the Blanks, an organization that fights childhood hunger by delivering food on the weekends when schools are not in session. When the pandemic hit and the group became short-staffed, PJ showed up, and he never quit. Along with a group of his friends, he delivered nearly 150,000 meals to the food insecure. But it went beyond simply handing out food. He went out of his way to make it personal. Knowing that an elderly woman loved mac and cheese, PJ bought her 30 boxes. Knowing that a child was celebrating a birthday, he baked cupcakes. One act of kindness has a ripple effect, he says. Well, PJ, if that's the case, then you have created a tidal wave. We are thrilled to present you with the 2020 Light a Fire Outstanding Volunteer Award. Please welcome PJ Johns.
Good evening. Wow. I'd like to first give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who each and every day makes life worth living. I'm thankful for every morning that God breathes air into my lungs, He opens my eyes, and He provides me the strength to rise in another day to glorify and serve Him. To Motley Media, a most sincere and humble thank you. I'm honored and blessed by the way this award was written and covered, and the beautiful way you honored and share all of the Light a Fire Award recipient stories was truly amazing. To the 12 Light the Fire Award winners, well done. I know the kindness that you showed in each and every area came from a deep and special place in your heart. To the co-founders of Filling in the Blanks, my friends Shawnee Knight and Tina Kramer, thank you for the opportunity to serve alongside of you in your never-ending quest to end childhood hunger. Dina Young, thank you for asking and always listening to my advice and suggestions. A special thank you to my man, Hunter. He was the architect loading and delivering meals and setting my car up so that I could deliver them. And also to my fellow brother and friend, the youth pastor Rob at Grace Community Church. Thank you, bro chachos. During the COVID times, we're all living in an unprecedented time and era. Sometimes with that comes a huge and a different kind of responsibility. Filling in the Blanks shifted their weekend focus and provided meals throughout the week and serviced communities throughout Fairfield County. To the outstanding team that I had the pleasure to serve with, Connie, Lance, Amanda, Dawn, Mario, Mila, Dashi, and Byron, you could not have asked for a more dedicated group. Each and every day, it wasn't about serving meals. It was about providing hope, listening to stories, and thanking the people for coming in. You know, I approached this pandemic a little differently. I too, with millions of people out there, lost my job. And I was determined. I was praying to the Lord one day and I said, you know, what is it all worth? What does it all mean if I can't thank you, if I can't stay faithful when I really need you? And right then and there, I made the decision not to worry about my needs, not to worry about losing my job, not to worry about how was I going to make it through. I was committed. And I said, okay, Lord, I know you're faithful and you're going to take care of me. And I'm going to serve. I'm going to look for an opportunity to help those and reach out. And that was the opportunity that Filling in the Blanks gave me to do at Hart Elementary School. I always say with God, all things are possible. I also always say, in the smallest of things, are the most important things of life. Once again, I thank Motley Media. I thank you. I thank the people that served alongside of me. I thank you for Filling in the Blanks, for the opportunity. And I also thank the other 12 recipients for their dedication of kindness. Thank you.
Of course, this evening wouldn't be possible without the support of our sponsors. First up, Leo Carl Chevrolet.
We've just loved Light a Fire over the years. It's a celebration of all the things that make Fairfield County and our area just a great place to live and work. I think our corporate philosophy's always been most of our team is involved with the community in one way or another, volunteering, as coaches, board members. We're really fortunate to have an organization like Grace Farms Foundation. They actually spearheaded procuring a lot of PPE for area first responders, all the communities around us, all the hospitals. And so we just jumped in and offered one of our vans to use for doing a lot of those deliveries. If anything, we're all starved for good news these days, so it's really nice to create some positive news and share how much good happens around us.
Hi, this is Leo Carl, and I'm at Carl Chevrolet at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan. We're proud to return once again as a sponsor of Motley Media's Light a Fire Awards, one of my favorite nights of the year, shining a light on so many great things that people are doing in and around Fairfield County to make life better for everyone. Speaking of making life better, we'd love to see you at Carl Chevrolet, help you with your family's automotive needs. We've been doing it for over 90 years. Visit us at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan or online at carlchevy.com.
They say that necessity is the mother of invention. And clearly, this past year, there was tremendous need. Enter Nicole Straight, founder of Food for the Front Lines, and soon thereafter, her co-founders, Ria Rueda, Stephanie Webster, and Allison Sherman. The impact that these women had on individuals in our communities was multifaceted. They raised money to pay struggling restaurants to prepare meals for over 12,000 healthcare workers and first responders, and also hosted food drives that fed over 3,200 unemployed restaurant workers. And it all started with what Nicole says was supposed to be a one-time thing. She posted on Facebook asking if anyone wanted to help cover the cost of some meals for EMT staff. In a matter of hours, thousands of dollars poured in, and a movement was born. And so, for creating something from nothing, we honor Food for the Front Lines with the 2020 Light a Fire Grassroots Impact Award. And accepting the award by video, because she's in Los Angeles, is founder Nicole Straight.
On March 13th, I got a phone call that made my stomach turn. My daughter called from California to tell us that her college was closing and she was coming home due to COVID. Within 2 days of arriving back to Westport, she went to what she considered her second home, Westport EMS, where she had been a volunteer EMT since she was 16. As her mom, I was both incredibly proud of her desire to help her community and equally terrified that she might get sick. The day she went to do her first shift, I called my friend Bill Taibbi and asked if he would make some meals that I could buy to bring to her crew. I knew all of the restaurants had closed and understood the immediate, devastating financial impact it would have on the employees and their families. That night, I posted to my Facebook page asking if anyone wanted to donate. Within 24 hours, I had raised over $4,000. Shortly thereafter, Stephanie Webster, Ria Rueda, and Allison Sherman, aka my dream team, reached out and said they wanted to help. Without hesitation, I agreed. Every day for the next 8 weeks, we purchased meals from local restaurants and had them delivered to each and every hospital and EMS throughout all of Fairfield County. A special thank you to Marjorie Almansi of SVP, who reached out and connected me with her incredible team who helped me with my weak spots. At the end of 8 weeks, we had raised over $140,000 and had purchased and delivered over 13,000 meals while supporting over 40 restaurants. I am so grateful to the generosity of this community, which helped show our love and support to both the frontline healthcare workers and the restaurants who are the backbone of what makes Westport a vibrant community. Muhammad Ali said, "Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth." Thank you for this award, and to my daughter Emma, whose service to others inspires me.
To say that small businesses were immediately devastated at the onset of COVID is an enormous understatement. So, when the government approved the Paycheck Protection Program, banks were flooded with applications. We've all heard the nightmare stories of businesses not receiving loans because of the overwhelming demand. and subsequently having to close their doors. First County Bank, under the leadership of Executive Director Bob Granata, did everything in its power to get as many loans through as possible. And what was possible? Originating $125 million in loans, which protected 10,000 jobs in just a few months. Not only did the staff literally work around the clock, the bank donated 10,000 masks to frontline workers, as well as $40,000 to local shelters, food pantries, and hospitals. And so, for its tenacious determination and for offering a human connection and compassion, we present First County Bank and Executive Director Bob Granata with the 2020 Light a Fire Small Business Impact Award. Please welcome and congratulate Bob Granata.
Thank you, James. In case you may not know me, my name is Bob Granata, CEO of First County Bank. I would first like to thank Juanita James and Denise Doria for nominating the bank for this distinguished Light a Fire Award, as well as Motley Media for this prestigious award. This award is not about myself, but about First County Bank's commitment to our community. This commitment has been our focus forever, since our founding over 165 years ago. Our founders wanted to start a bank not out of greed, but for the good of the community. They wanted to make a difference to provide banking services to the region's individuals and businesses. They did that. We continue to have a focus of our community each and every day. We were honored for this award. As you heard, we originated nearly 1,200 Paycheck Protection Program loans, helping save over 12,000 jobs in our region. We did this because we wanted everyone to continue to achieve their goals and aspirations. We see that as success. Our entire workforce came together to ensure that we help clients with obtaining online banking services, obtaining a debit card, obtaining access to opening accounts. We help people access their funds. We ensured that we answered every call, whether it was into our call center, whether it was into one of our branches, or their favorite banker. We answered. We didn't stop there. You heard that we gave to the community. We gave $50,000 to shelters and food pantries. It's what we do. We give to the region's ask for donations. We care. We are there for our customers when you need us most. Thank you to our employees. Thank you to our board of directors for your guiding light. And thank you to our customers, who we continue to help meet their goals and aspirations. Thank you. We wish you a wonderful holiday season, and we look forward to a brighter 2021. Thank you.
When you help a mother get on her feet, you help an entire family. And so, helping women find employment and become economically secure is the cornerstone of the Women's Mentoring Network mission. When in-person mentoring and assistance became impossible, Executive Director Lana Jiffis and her team pivoted to provide online assistance beyond employment. They not only helped clients boost their digital literacy — I could use some of that, though I'm not a mother — apply for unemployment, file for loans, and learn how to interview on Zoom. They helped ensure food security, continued their mentoring program virtually, and raised funds to provide computers to homes without them. For all that they have done, we present the Women's Mentoring Network and Executive Director Lana Jiffis with the 2020 Light a Fire Women's Impact Award. Here she is, Lana Jiffis.
Thank you. I am both humbled and honored to receive Moffley Media's Women's Impact Award. I would first like to thank Jonathan and the Moffley Media family. I would also like to congratulate all those who have also received the Light a Fire Award. It is truly amazing to be one of the award recipients among such great individuals. At the onset of the pandemic, we knew immediately that we would need to become the voice for so many women that would need to be heard so that they could get the help that they need. I mean, this is what we do. From 1990 until today, we have been serving the unemployed and underemployed. And the facts that have been brought to light as a result of the pandemic are undeniable, with women disproportionately impacted by COVID-19 in every aspect of their lives. We knew that the programs and services of Women's Mentoring Network would have to be more relevant now than ever as we plan to face the uncharted territory head on. We also knew that we would first need to alter everything we did to help those in need. First, to make sure that our members knew that we would all get through this together. Women's Mentoring Network has been at the front lines of this crisis to help our families from day one, to educate them on the resources that are available to them. We would like to thank everyone that has stepped up to support the organization, and especially those who have come out to volunteer to help us. And I'd especially like to thank my family, who's been behind us every step of the way. The organization provides basic career services and mentorship to women who have nowhere else to go. Our greatest success stories come from the women who now have someone to be accountable to and someone that is there to guide them on their journey and their goals. We truly believe that empowering women changes not only their lives, but also changes the lives of their families. And this empowerment has a positive impact on the overall community in which we all live and work. So thank you again for this recognition for both myself and Women's Mentoring Network. Thank you.
In 1975, a group of Greenwich residents concerned for the underserved began distributing gently used clothes, linens, and towels. And out of the basement of Christ Church, Neighbor to Neighbor was created. Today, the organization is a pivotal resource, offering substantial food and clothing programs in our community. In March, seeing the imminent wave of need that would surely be coming, the group, led by Executive Director Margaret Gimos Goldberg, proactively strengthened relationships with other organizations. They solicited from the Greenwich Teen Center for larger space, the Transportation Association of Greenwich, TAG, to increase food distribution to clients, the Greenwich United Way for grant funding. The list goes on and on. Neighbor to Neighbor not only kept thousands in our community fed, they kept them connected. TAG drivers knew clients by name. Margaret gave out her personal cell number so that clients could reach her when they needed to. And volunteers reached out through social media and in-person check-ins. For leading the way and setting the example of neighbors helping neighbors, we are honored to present Neighbor to Neighbor and Executive Director Margaret Gimos Goldberg with the 2020 Light a Fire Community Impact Award. Here she is. Please welcome Margaret Gimos Goldberg.
Thank you, Jim. It's an absolute honor, and thank you. On behalf of the Board of Directors, staff and volunteers of Neighbor to Neighbor, thank you to Kristen and everyone at Moffley Media for this honored recognition of our community efforts. May I take a brief moment to recognize and acknowledge the dedication and service of all honorees today. Your work is a shining light, and your passion provides clarity and purpose, particularly during this current COVID crisis. It's hard to believe that 45 years ago, a small group of compassionate neighbors inspired to help those less fortunate seeded what would become one of the most essential services to our community during a global health pandemic. At this time, Neighbor to Neighbor provides food assistance to more than 550 households each week, and we never turn anyone away. According to Greenwich United Way's 2020 ALICE report, 29% of Greenwich residents are unable to afford basic needs, up from 20% 2 short years ago. Together with our partners at Greenwich United Way, the Town of Greenwich, Transportation Association of Greenwich, Greenwich Department of Human Services, Arch Street Teen Center, and many other community agencies, Neighbor to Neighbor exemplifies and reflects a Greenwich community comprised of neighbors that care. We commit our time and effort to keep nutritious food and basic necessities within reach for Greenwich families in need, many now facing illness and heightened anxiety. With volunteers, donors, and supporters, neighbors and friends, together there is no doubt we are neighbor strong. Thank you.
Our second sponsor that makes tonight possible is the Chance Mantione Group at UBS.
What Light a Fire means to me and why we're here and sponsoring is really about the people, the stories, and the help that are all around this organization and this community.
There's an organization called Stanford Dollars for Scholars. This year, obviously with COVID and the quarantine, they held a virtual 5K run walk. Everybody was involved. We were able to trade pictures of each other doing fun things and support a wonderful charity.
We all live in this community, and to serve your community is probably the most important thing that you can do. Andrew and I met 23 years ago. We have been less than 10 feet apart almost ever since. Our team serves about 100 families around the country. We're 9 people. We serve multi-generational clients, and we are multi-generational in nature. As a team, we're there to provide honest, fair, insightful financial advice.
It always is about the relationship. You know, we like to think that we build relationships first, and then that helps us earn trust. Our first core value is putting clients first, and that's what we're thinking about in every interaction that we have with our client family.
Food insecurity and hunger plague nearly 500,000 men, women, and children right here in Connecticut every day. Think about that. 500,000 people in our communities do not know if they will have enough food. Add a global pandemic that robs people of their jobs, and that number skyrockets. Food Rescue U.S. Site Director Danielle Blaine, who began as a volunteer, was not going to sit by and allow people to go hungry. She and her army of volunteers spearheaded efforts to launch new initiatives like the Community Kitchen Program, Restaurant Meal Program, and Farm Distribution Program. Through these efforts, Danielle and her team provided nearly 1 million meals to the food insecure, helped 20 local restaurants stay in business, hired unemployed restaurant workers to prepare meals in its community kitchens, and organized the recovery of excess food from area farms. And so, for moving mountains in a time of uncertainty, we present Danielle Blaine and Food Rescue U.S. with the 2020 Light a Fire Outstanding Leadership Award. Danielle?
Thank you, James and Motley Media, for focusing a light on the work Food Rescue U.S. is doing during this pandemic. I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of our amazing 1,356 Food Rescue U.S. volunteers across Fairfield County. From Bridgeport to Danbury to Norwalk to Greenwich, they don a mask every day to make sure excess food reaches those in need during this pandemic. I'd like to bring to your attention 2 conflicting facts. First, there are 50 million food insecure people in the U.S. right now. And second, 40% of perfectly good food, farm produce, grocery store food, is being thrown into landfill. This makes no sense ever, but especially during a pandemic. This is a logistics issue that can be simply solved by putting 2 of our most vexing problems today, hunger and food waste, to end. Food Rescue US has a simple, easy, smart, and free app-based solution that connects excess food via our volunteers to our 119 local social service agencies in Fairfield, Connecticut, that they need the food most. The food we rescue is fresh and nutritious, and Food Rescue US keeps it out of landfill, improving our environment and nourishing those in need in our community. Since the pandemic started in March, Food Rescue US in Fairfield County alone has provided over 1 million meals to our food insecure neighbors. Some of these meals have gone to the East End NRZ Food Pantry in Bridgeport. It is a food desert where food insecurity has been always high. Deb Sims runs the food pantry and kitchen there. I received a call from her that they were desperately in need of fresh fruits and vegetables. In order to keep her community healthy, I connected her with Trader Joe's in Fairfield. Every Tuesday, our volunteers take an enormous carload of fresh fruits and vegetables to Deb, where she can distribute them to her community. This is all done free of charge in 30 minutes from store to agency by a Food Rescue US volunteer. There are hundreds more people in line at your local social service agency right now, some of them for the first time. To find out how to do more in your community, visit our website, Food Rescue US, or email me, Danielle@foodrescue.us. Many thanks for all the support of our national office, CEO Carol Shattuck, Vice President Melissa Speisman, Marketing and Grant Director Jennifer Gould, Associates Bethany Simmons, Victoria Zapata, Business Manager Elena Murphy, and our metrics person, Lori Jones. And a big shout out to my growing Fairfield County staff team, Jenny Howard, who does our local PR, Haley Schulman, our program associate, and Lainey Lloyd, our new volunteer coordinator. Many thanks for this award, and have a good night.
Children's Learning Centers of Fairfield County has long provided children between the ages of 6 weeks and 5 years a safe environment to grow, learn, and excel, regardless of their family's ability to pay. When the pandemic hit and the centers needed to close, the agency, led by Executive Director Mark Jaffe, shifted into high gear. It offered child care to Stamford Hospital healthcare workers. It partnered with local organizations to deliver diapers and meals to those in need, and pivoted to connect and engage with 940 children remotely, something that they had never done before. The organization safely opened 7 of its centers in June, when much of the world was still shut down, allowing 500 parents to get back to work. For its care, compassion, and dedication to the smallest members of our community, we present Executive Director Mark Jaffe and Children's Learning Centers with the 2020 Light a Fire Children and Family Impact Award. Mark Jaffe.
Thank you, James. Good evening. It is a great pleasure to be here. Thank you, Mofley Media, for continuing the meaningful celebration, especially during COVID. Congratulations to my fellow honorees for their excellent work. I am proud to be accepting this award on behalf of CLC and our educators for Project 26, our effort to care for and educate the young children of frontline hospital workers. During these unprecedented times, it was important to support the heroic workers at our own Stamford Health. What became apparent, of course, was that our teachers, our family service workers, indeed our whole team, were heroes themselves. And that team of heroes, 95% are women, 85% women of color. In late March, we had little understanding of the risks or the dangers. Nonetheless, our team bravely stepped up. And during the 8 weeks of our program, none of the children or staff got sick. Children are our first priority. If they're not well taken care of, frontline healthcare parents could not have done the job demanded of them. One family in particular comes to mind. The parents were both medical professionals, Dad at Stamford Health and mom at Greenwich Hospital. They had just moved here, so imagine 2 healthcare workers moving to a new city in the middle of a pandemic with 2 young children to find immediate care for. CLC was their lifesaver, so they in turn could go and save the lives of others. The work teachers do, the work our early childhood educators do, was always challenging, and that was before COVID and George Floyd and an economic downturn. At least now, with parents playing the role of teachers, there's a greater appreciation for just how challenging that work really is. Lastly, to our board, leadership council, parents, partners, and supporters, thank you for believing in the critical work we do, and thank you for this wonderful, very meaningful award.
The Greenwich United Way's slogan is "Find it, fund it, fix it." Well, this year the problem found the United Way, and the group was ready to fund it and to fix it. Under the leadership of CEO David Rabin, it became a beacon of light in very dark times for nonprofits that were being called on more than ever to help. The impact was tremendous. The group raised nearly $1 million for COVID-19 Relief Fund, issuing grants to local organizations, and working with groups like Kids in Crisis, Filling in the Blanks, Neighbor to Neighbor, Family Centers, and Nathaniel Witherell. It delivered over 12,000 meals. It provided funding for 60,000 meals, organized Zoom calls for the elderly, and offered stipends to help individuals meet the most basic of needs. It also connected residents who wanted to help with organizations who needed the help. So for all that they did to unite our community, we are honored to present the Greenwich United Way with the 2020 Light a Fire Nonprofit Impact Award. Please welcome David Rabin.
Thank you, James. You know, putting a suit and tie on for the first time since March is a really good feeling, and it's even a better feeling that it still fits. You know, it's humbling to be in the same company as all the honorees, both present and past. Thank you, Moffley Media, and a sincere, very well done to all the honorees tonight. Not only did we get meals to almost 2,000 kids in July and August, who otherwise may have gone hungry, we made a connection between Greenwich Public Schools and a transportation agency to get that food delivered directly to the families. And that connection was one of many we made, bringing resources to those who needed it most. Other connections brought PPE to frontline workers, brought technology to at-risk kids to work remotely. We funded additional staff at local organizations to help meet food insecurity. We even helped small businesses by funding organizations that purchased prepared meals for delivery to those who are food insecure, among many other connections. Some stats for Greenwich you may not know. Along with the 20% of the kids in Greenwich Public Schools on free and reduced lunch, as I mentioned, 7% of Greenwich residents are at or below the federal poverty level. 22% are in the ALICE category. And ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed. That equates to almost a full 1/3 of Greenwich residents that are a flat tire or a missed paycheck away from financial disaster. And those numbers are sure to grow as the pandemic continues to take its toll on our most vulnerable. So, we did not pivot, we did not change course, we did not take a different tack when the pandemic hit in March. We did exactly what we were founded for way back in 1933, and that is to ensure every member of our community has the opportunity to be healthy, educated, and self-sufficient. You know, it's also no surprise this year that 3 of this year's honorees are funded by Greenwich United Way grants. You know, more than 8 decades ago, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, "The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little." On behalf of our board who supported us all the way, our staff who did what they do best, our donors who made it all possible, and of course on behalf of the people we serve, thank you.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our 2020 Light a Fire Awards. Now, even though our event looked a little bit different this year, the love, the hope, the inspiration shone as brightly as ever. We hope to see you in person next year. Until then, be well, and let me leave you with this, because next year is next year. So until then, happy trails to you until we meet again. Or as the old ranger said, so long.